Hey guys, welcome into Amanda's Favorites. I think we can all agree that it is super satisfying to build a habit that works for achieving our goals. But I think we can also agree that no habit lasts forever. Most everyone will find that they plateau in a fitness journey at some point, slip up on a budget, or have to get their kids in bed earlier once summer ends. So that begs the question, why does a habit, even a really good habit, stop working? Today, not only are we going to answer that question, but if you stick around to the end, I'm going to show you an easy way you can adapt your habits when your season of life changes. So first of all, why do your habits stop working? The answer is change. It can be big or small, but they greatly impact your habits. For instance, if we think about the seasons of the year, because we're going to discuss both seasons of the year and seasons of our life here. In the winter, a coat is the best thing to wear. It keeps us warm. It feels cozy. I wish there were more months here where I got to wear a coat or a jacket. But as spring rolls around here in Texas, a coat or a jacket, not good. As seasons change, we need to change too. And that also goes for our habits. We have to change them, along with not only the seasons of the year, but the seasons of our lives. When we have maybe a new job, with our kids starting or stopping school, or different activities they're involved in. Something with our finances might change. And just as we age, my life looks vastly different in my late 40s than it did in my 20s and in my 30s. Now we're going to take a look at 3 specific habits, how they might need to change with your season of life, and how you can adapt them as your season of life changes. So I'm going to give you specific examples here. The first example is a personal one from my life, my habit of daily walks. This habit changes with the season outside. It also changes with the season of my life throughout the year. I constantly reevaluate weather-wise, for my family-wise. Is it bringing me joy at that time, or is it causing a lot of friction in my life? My ideal time to walk would actually be right after I eat breakfast, but I am not living in my ideal world right now. That's the first example. We're going to come back and talk about how to adapt these habits next. The second example is Rebecca. Rebecca is a mom who loves to go to the gym 5 days a week. She does like 2 days a week of meal prep, 1 day a week of her grocery shopping. While they're in school, she has all the time to do this. She uses a big bulk of her time on her health and her family's health. But then her kids are out of school for the summer. We're going to talk about how to adapt that habit. Example number 3. Sadie has a morning routine that she loves. She was able to work from home and have a completely flexible morning routine. And then her job let her know that they want her to come into the office 3 days a week. And she needs to be there by 8:30 in the morning. She starts feeling rushed, like she never has enough time. Her mornings are not working for her anymore. And no one likes to feel that way. So how do we adapt these habits to new seasons? First, to take my walking example. In the summer, I don't have my ideal situation because of the summer heat here and the long daylight hours. So in order to be able to stay up later at night with my boys, when we generally like to talk and do things together, because hello, it's a teenager and a college age kid, I do my walk in the summer evenings. But moving into fall, my whole life is going to change. My oldest son goes back to college. My high schooler, we restart back into homeschooling schedule. Now, we don't get those weather changes at the beginning of September when all these school changes are going to happen. I won't really call it cool until November, but once it starts feeling cool, I probably will move my walk to after breakfast in the morning. And even in the middle of the winter, sometimes I can break up my walks into 2 times a day. I will keep you guys updated on Instagram about my walks. I'm always doing stories about them. And I share even more personal things with my patrons. We have monthly Zoom calls there. We have such a great supportive group on the Zoom calls. And I share personal videos there. You can check out joining me there at the link down in the description. Example number 2. Rebecca, remember, was the mom that loved to do the gym 5 days a week and all her meal prep for her and her family while her kids were at school. For her to adapt this habit to the summer, she doesn't need to drop her habits. She just needs to adapt them. Rebecca decides to pause her gym membership during the summer because she doesn't want to spend that much time away from her kids. She decides to do her free weights at home and Yoga with Adriene on YouTube. She decides to opt in for grocery delivery instead of going to the store like she normally does, and also purchasing a lot more pre-prepped ingredients, already cut vegetables, frozen vegetables, things that make it easier on her so she has more time to spend going to the pool with her kids, playing games, doing fun activities. Now, example number 3, Sadie with her new job. She finally took time to actually sit down and plan out what could her new morning routine be for her job. She can't do the same things that she did before, but she can take some of those elements that make her feel good and she can put them into a shorter form to fit on those office mornings. For example, she can pre-prep a lot of her breakfast. She doesn't get to have her breakfast sitting down, scrolling Instagram, or reading a book like she might have used to, but she finds a way to still get a healthy breakfast, which is a high priority for her. She doesn't have time to do a yoga video, but she decides she does have time to do 5 minutes of yoga stretching on her own, which makes her feel good. And that's an example of how we don't have to abandon all our habits that actually serve us really well. When changes come, we just need to adapt them to the new season of life that we're in or the season of the year. All right, to wrap us up, I did promise I was going to show y'all a way to adapt your habits when your season of life changes. So we have worked on a simple printable called Embrace Your Season. It gives you a place to actually sit down and plan for those changes. I am going to use this not only when the seasons of the year change, not only when I have a huge change in my life, but if I just feel like some things aren't working. So once you purchase this download, it is available for you to use and print as many times throughout the year as you need to. The first step in this printable is called Envision. Right now, how do you feel in this season of life? How do you want to feel in this season? And take that feeling you want down into 3 words. Step 2 is to identify. Think about which of your current habits cultivate this feeling. Which habits do you need to start to cultivate this feeling? And conversely, which habits do you need to stop or change? Now, in that first column, which of your current habits cultivate this feeling? Sometimes maybe none of your habits are cultivating that feeling. And that's the whole reason why you printed this out, is because you're not getting that feeling in your life that you want. Step 3 is to prioritize. In this step, you're going to prioritize habits that you identified in step 2 that you need to incorporate into your days. I might have some days in the week when I can do a full yoga video, either a 20-minute one or a 40-minute one. And I'm going to love those days. But I'm going to have a lot of days that I can't do a 20-minute or a 40-minute yoga video. So you're going to list what your habit would look like on the best days, but then you're going to have the less days. The less days are going to be just me doing 5 minutes, whatever time I have, of yoga on my own in the clothes that I'm in. It could be, me rolling out of bed and even doing it in my nightgown. In the winter, it looks like me just being in my same sweatpant joggers and t-shirt and just doing whatever kind of yoga I can fit in at the time. It doesn't need to be an all or a nothing. So be able to keep your habit going even on the less days. And this last page is totally optional because I realize it can help some people and it can stress other people out. But it is to map out what these habits might look like in an ideal week, where they would fit in your weekly schedule. We left the time slots blank for hour and half hour because some people's day might start at 6 a.m. and some people work very late at night and work different shifts. So we wanted to let you fill in your own time slots there. But to go through and find out where those habits would fit in your life, how much time are they actually taking up on an ideal day, to see if you can actually fit them in there. However, if you think this part would maybe discourage you when your week falls short, then by all means, of course, feel free to skip this step. Step number 1 through 3, though, are the ones that you really want to do. You can pick up this printable in my Patreon shop. That is just the place we are selling them from. You do not have to be a Patreon to purchase there. My college-age son, Pierce, is actually the one who does all these printables, designs them all in my shop, and he is actually using all these proceeds for college. But we didn't just make this printable to just make a printable. This is actually something that I have been wanting for quite some time, to be able to just pull out when things aren't feeling right. When I'm feeling a lot of friction or like I'm hitting a wall with a habit. And if I just can't follow through and make that habit happen, then I know that I need to workshop something about it. I need to go through and evaluate things. I'd love to hear in the comments, what is your 1, 2, or 3 most important daily habits? And I'd love to hear your thoughts on if you notice that you have to change those with the season of the year or the season of your life. Instead of fighting against changes in the weather, changes in our family, changes with our work, we need to adapt our habits to those changes as many times a year as is needed. Thanks for watching. Take care of yourself so you can take care of others. Embrace whatever season of life you're in, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.